Chris Hill with the President's Club and our web series, The Rising Tide. And today we have a guest with us, Marcus Richardson. I've known Marcus for years. The first time that I met Marcus was I was at an event in Dallas, and me and Robbie went down as the staff, and Marcus was brand new. I don't even know if he was with us then, and he roomed with me and Robbie. And so we got to know each other pretty closely on that very first trip. And loved watching his production go through the roof, and loved watching him and Carla build their team. And we've been all over the place and just had a blast. Marcus, thank you for jumping on with us today.
Thank you for having me, Chris.
So real quick, if you could give us just a high level, 2-3 minutes, how you found the Alliance and how you ended up here, and then we'll get into our questions.
Absolutely. So I've been with the Alliance 8 years. It'll be 9 for me. Oh my goodness, Chris, in October. Like you said, I remember showing up that first convention. I had my blue do-rag on and my blue FUBU outfit that was 2 sizes too big. And Chris and Robbie looked at me like, "Is this Marcus? That does not look like your Facebook picture. You had a tie on in your Facebook picture." And so it was good because that was the day when we found the Alliance, my wife and I, we were we were broke people and broken people, and we were just looking for a shot. My stepmom had actually went to one of our op meetings with my dad, and my dad's always looking for a hustle, and he saw the lead opportunity and he saw the potential in regards to how to do it. And he said, "Hey son, you got your insurance license. I got a good feel for this company. You should take a look at it." I got in the business, saw the leads, saw the leadership, and then I had a chance to come down and meet Andy, which is what I referenced when I met you. And you actually had me late, Chris, 5 minutes for my first interview with Andy because you were worried about being the sexiest man in all the Alliance. And Andy had some very direct conversation with me about not being late anymore to any meetings with him, and that has not happened in the last 8 years. So, but yeah, that's kind of how we got started. My wife and I got 2 kids. My son, Adriel, he's my oldest, he's 12. And then my baby girl, Maya, she is 11.
I remember that morning because I took a shower, took too long, and then made you late to your breakfast with Albright. And then I remember that conversation, and that was good times. And then I remember the prayer meeting that started at 5 in the morning, I think it was, woke me up, and I was like, man, this guy's crazy, but I like him. And so very early, I'm excited. Hey, here's the crazy thing about Marcus. I have watched Marcus over the last 9 years. He started out really like a 5K a month producer, then he went to 10K, and then he went to 20, then he went to 40. Now he's approaching 50 and going past that. So Marcus, just give us real quick, what keeps causing you to change these levels? Because I can go back and look, and it's like platforms. It's like you were 10K consistent, and then all of a sudden it went 10 to 20. There wasn't like 10 to 12, it was 10 to 20, and then it was 20 consistent, it was 20 to 40. What causes you to make such a drastic increase so fast?
Good question, Chris. So for me, it was always when I first started just having small goals, and then the goals began to increase. So one of my goals was to submit at least 2 applications every week. When I first started, I needed to just submit 2 apps. I was just needing an extra $500, and I knew that if I submitted 2 apps, I bring in about 2,000 a month, and that would cover most of the bills. So that's kind of when I first started. I just said I'm going to write 2 apps every week, and then it went from 2 apps to saying, you know what, I think I can do about 7 apps a week. And then it went from 7 apps a week to I can do 10 apps a week. And that's kind of been where I'm at personally, is just like I want to do no less than 10 applications a week every week. If it's less than 10 apps a week, I did something wrong. So that was the first thing, is my app count. And then the second thing was really just my belief level, Chris. I remember when I first started, there were people selling, 20 and 30,000 a month and doing these crazy annuities. And I was like, what? I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't see it for myself. I did not have the confidence that I have now that I could even perform at that level. And so I remember getting 5,000 issue paid in a month. I was fired up. And so I was excited about that. And it's what has happened, though, is talking to Andy has challenged me. And every time I do, he raises my belief level, and he just has a higher expectation for me. And he's always coached me that people will rise and fall to the expectations you set for them. And so he had when it went from 10 to 20, it really was just him saying, hey, I'm doing SEAL Team. And I'm going to do some recognition from SEAL Team. And if anybody knows me, I think I like the recognition more than I like the money. I'm not giving the money back, but I love hearing my name called. I love being one that says, hey, I went out and performed. Because I performed, people are noticing. So for me, that's kind of driving me on the SEAL Team thing. And then it's the same thing. This year, Andy said, hey, why don't you just do 30,000 a month? So I had already committed at the beginning of the year when I was writing my goals down that I'm gonna travel more. I wanted to see Andy, and I wanted to get more coaching from him. And I was gonna pay my own money to do it. But he said, "Hey, if you sell 30,000, we'll pay you to come see me." I was like, "Oh, I'm in." So that's kind of what happened there on raising the bar. Now, same thing. We got the 40 appointments a week. Been pushing to get the 40 appointments a week and just driving up the activity. But that's really what has helped me ratchet up my production is making sure I'm consistent with my own personal goals, and really pushing myself every week to be able to stay consistent with those goals. And then the other thing that was big for me is having a set schedule. So like my first year in business, I had no schedule. I just did whatever I wanted to, whenever I wanted to, chase Carla around the house. You know what I'm saying? But now I have a set schedule. This is what I do at this time.
Very cool. So app count per week, belief level, and then a set schedule. Did you get one of those SEAL Team book bags?
I did. I got it in the other room.
I thought you did. Good deal. So we're going to get into today the ATM. And I've had Marcus record many calls over how to build rapport in the home and how to deal with getting people to like you and move forward through the ATM. So I wanted him to cover those today. So we're going to go through the first 2 to 3 pages of the ATM, and we want you to hear the words that he's saying, and then we want you to be able to take it and listen to it over and over again. Because it's very similar to a recipe. You hear how Marcus says the words, and you see how he moves his face and his hands. It helps you understand how he makes people like him so much in the home. And so we'll go through, and they're going to slide the screen over, so Marcus can have more room in the ATM. But Marcus, we'll pretend like you came into my house. I'm a final expense appointment or mortgage, whichever one you want to do. And then we've got in the house, you sat down at the table, you've had a little bit of small talk, and then you're bringing the ATM out, and then we'll go from right there as if I'm your client and my wife Crystal is sitting beside me, and we'll go from there. We'll turn it over to you, Marcus.
All right, perfect, Chris. So let me slide this a little bit. It's kind of weird. I'm doing it backwards. I don't know, Chris. Can you see it?
That's
okay?
Perfect. I can see it. I can see it good on my end.
Okay, all right. So I'm sitting down with Chris, and I guess if I was going to do this real quick, I just want to say this. The ATM really is training wheels to kind of keep you focused on what you should be saying. But you need to learn it, though. You need to know what's on the pages. You need to kind of get it in your heart so it just becomes like automatic to you. So you're not looking over here and doing one of these things, okay? So spend time learning the pages, knowing what comes next so you look like the professional that you are. And then I would say the other thing here for me, I think these first 3 pages are probably some of the most important pages in the whole ATM, because what you're doing is you're connecting with the client and you're developing a relationship with the client. So it's important that you just kind of watch how I do that. And I also think it's key that you are, to be interesting, you need to be interested. To be interesting, you need to be interested in the client. So I'm going to show you how we do that. So Chris, like I was saying, Chris and Crystal, my name is Marcus, and the company that I work with, they give me this to help me stay focused, and this will help me get through it and kind of explain to you who we are. So the company I work with is called The Alliance. What we do, Chris, is we do mortgage protection, final expense. We also do retirement, so we help people keep their money safe when all this coronavirus stuff was hitting, all this craziness was going down. We're the people that help them keep their money safe. And then we also are hiring like crazy. So if you know anybody that's looking for work, please let me know. And specifically, Chris, it looks like you had sent in a form requesting some information on the final expenses for you and Crystal. So that's what we'll go ahead and talk about today, okay?
Sounds great.
Now, Chris, this is a little bit about me, just so you know who you're working with and what kind of where I come from. So, like I said, it's Marcus, and I'm actually a native of Colorado, which means I was born and raised in Colorado. Where are you and Crystal from?
We're originally from North Carolina, and we moved out here about 15 years ago.
Ah, okay. And what brought you here?
Work did. My job transferred out here, so we moved out here with it.
Okay. And what do you do for work again, Chris?
I work for GE.
Okay. You like it?
Yeah. Almost retired, almost to the end. So, yeah.
How long before you retire?
I got 3 more years.
Okay, got it. And what you gonna do after you retire?
Fish.
Which reservoir, which lake you going to?
All of them, hopefully. My wife will let me.
Now, does Crystal go with you, or is it just you?
She sometimes goes and reads, but when she goes, I have to come home early. So most of the time, she does not go. She likes to shop.
Hey, Crystal, is that true? And I would always ask the wife now because I'm trying to pull her into the conversation. So we'll just keep going. But I would ask her a question now about the fishing to make sure she's engaged in the conversation. Okay, nice, nice. So next part is, guys, I'm actually married. I've been married to my high school sweetheart. How long have you and Crystal been married?
Next year will be 29 years.
Nice. So you got any advice for a young married guy like me if I want to stay married, 29 years, Lord willing?
What they told me was she was always right. That's the only advice they gave me. So,
I am learning that too, Chris. I am learning that too. And then, Crystal, you got any advice for me on how to stay married 29 years, Lord willing? I'm just trying to engage, make sure she's involved in the conversation too, get her advice. I would acknowledge what she said, and then I would agree with it and go on to the next one. All right, Chris. So I have two kids. My boy's the oldest. He's 12. His name is Adriel, and then Maya is my baby girl. She's 11. You guys got kids?
yep, we have 3 girls, and then we have 4 grandchildren.
Okay, and are the girls out here in Colorado or are they back in North Carolina?
They're all out here in Colorado.
Okay. And then is that kind of why you guys came out here too? Was it to be closer to the kids and work, or just more so
They were
work?
still living at home when we moved out here, so they just came with us.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. And then on the grandbabies, what's the age ranges?
6, 4, and 2, and then a newborn.
6, 4, and 2, and a newborn. Okay. Do you get to see them much?
Yeah, all the time.
Now, is that as much as you would like, Chris, or would you like to see them more
Depends
or
on
less?
which grandchildren show up. Depends on who's there.
I got you. Now, I'm not at the stage for grandkids, but you got any advice for me of raising the kids and making them productive members of a society, especially with, one girl, one boy? It's a little bit, they're two different people.
Now, I was told that if you don't kill your children, God's gift to you is grandchildren. So just try to survive the kids. That's what they always told me.
Now, how do you keep from killing them when they don't do what you want them to do?
I don't know. I think we just got lucky. I think that's what we just got lucky, but to tell you the truth.
Got it. Got it. Well, I'm going to do my best to not kill ours, and hopefully God will give us a gift of grandbabies too. And then for me, I've been doing the insurance, Chris, for about 9 years. And I got into it not because I wanted to be the insurance guy, but I got into it because my mom passed away real suddenly. Have you ever heard of sarcoidosis?
No, I have not.
It's not real common, but it's really rare. But it's an autoimmune disease. So what happens, Chris, is your white blood cells go haywire. They start attacking your body, and then for my mom, it was attacking her lungs. So she had to carry around her oxygen tank. She called us on a Wednesday. She says, "Baby, I got this bruise on my leg." My wife took her to the doctor. They looked at everything and said, "Oh, Miss Richardson, you're fine." And then they gave her some pain medicine and sent her home. And that night she said, "Baby, I'm not feeling real good. I'm just going to take this pain medication and lay down." I said, "Okay." I didn't think anything of it. And then Thursday and Friday, I was unable to catch her on the phone. And Saturday, we were getting ready for my daughter's first birthday. And my uncle calls me at 12 and says, "Marcus, I'm sorry." I said, "For what?" He said, "Your mom didn't wake up." And she was 50 years old, Crystal. She had no life insurance, and it was on my daughter's first birthday.
Hmm.
Have you guys ever had to bury anybody or gone through that before?
Yeah, we buried both of our parents.
Okay. And when her parents passed, did they have life insurance?
One did and one did not. So
Okay.
the one, her mom did not, and so we had to come out of pocket for it. But her dad did have insurance, so that helped some.
Got it. So you guys have seen the best of both worlds then.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. Yeah,
And when you had the situation where was it her mom that didn't have life insurance or her dad?
it was her mom.
Okay. How did you guys do that? Did you guys have everybody chip in, or how did you guys end up paying for everything?
Yeah, we had everybody chip in and tried to collect money and put some on credit cards and tried to just figure it out.
Yep. Same thing happened to me, man. Everybody, they came to the funeral, but they act like they didn't know me when it come time to pay. So I had
I
it all on me.
understand.
And that's why I got passionate about helping families because I wanted to make sure that people didn't go through what I went through. Is that kind of what prompted you to send back this postcard, or what was on your heart, Chris, when you filled this postcard out about the final expense life insurance?
Yeah, when we just received it and I was looking at it, and me and Crystal were talking about it and what we went through, and we didn't want our children to have to go through the same thing. We didn't want them to have to deal with that, and so we figured it might be something good to look into.
Well, I'm glad y'all decided to look into it. Paint a picture for me real quick, though, Chris. What does it look like right now? I know you're working, getting ready to retire in a couple years. If something did happen before we get a policy in place today, what does that look like financially for Crystal?
We've got a little bit of money in savings, and then I've got a 401k with my company, and so we start trying to, I know that would take time and so on, but as far as like out of pocket, they would have to start doing collections and figure out something to make it for a little bit of time.
Okay. And is that what you and Crystal are trying to avoid?
Yeah, we do not want I don't want Crystal to go through that or our children to go through that.
Right, right. It's tough, man, because you've lived all these years with dignity. You probably should pass away with it too.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, that makes total sense on why you sent back the postcard and why you need my help. So let me see what I can do to figure out any plans that might be good for you and Crystal. But it sounds like the biggest thing is making sure we have a policy in place, choose it all, but while I'm living, to make sure the funeral is taken care of. Is that about correct?
Yep.
Okay. And then this is where I would ask Crystal the same question, but since we don't have a lady role playing with us, I won't go there. But the way that would go is if I was with husband and wife, I would say, so Crystal, that's what Chris has said, but what's the biggest concern for you? Are you feeling like Chris or what's on your heart? Then I would let her talk and let her explain it to me, and I would ask some more in-depth questions of Crystal, similar to the ones I asked about Chris. What does it look like? Why is that important to you guys? And then make sure everybody understands the emotion. So this here, after I tell my story, is where I slow down and figure out their why, and where I figure out how to develop and create the emotion about doing something today about their problem. Then I flip this page here, and I say, so like I said, guys, this is my lovely mother. Her name was Roche before she passed. And then you have my little man, Adriel, over there. And then in the middle is my better half, Carla. As you can tell, she's definitely the better half of us. And then baby girl, Maya, she is around my neck.
Very nice family.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you. And then my license just says I'm legally certified to be able to talk to you about life insurance, and I'm certified by the state of Colorado to be able to help you. And then this part right here, Chris, is a bunch of the different insurance companies that we use, because not everybody's situation is the same, and we try to use more companies so that way if you had heart attack, cancer, stroke, and there's a company that works better with heart attack, with the stroke, we can put you with the best company and also give you the best rates. And then I say, does any of these look familiar, Chris? Do you recognize any of these? And I kind of hold it closer so they can see.
I recognize Mutual of Omaha. I've seen them before.
Nice. And then have you ever worked with any of these companies? Do you have your life insurance through any of these companies?
No, we did have life insurance at GE, but I'm not sure. I can't remember what carrier it is. I'd have to go look it up.
Okay, got it. Yeah, they're all great companies. Now, one of the ones that I'm a huge fan of is Foresters. Have you heard of Foresters, Chris?
No, I've never heard of them.
Okay. I love them. So I have my policy through Foresters, and my wife's policy through Foresters, but I like them when you have the kids and the grandkids because they do member benefits. So let's say, for example, find a policy that fits your needs and your budget through Foresters. What Foresters is going to do, Chris, is they're going to consider you a member, and they give away a bunch of money to their members. And part of the way they give away money is they have a thing called competitive scholarships. So if you have a Foresters policy, and God forbid, not God forbid, I'm sorry, I'm doing it as if it's an orphan benefit. So if you have a Foresters policy, Chris, the kids, when they get old enough, so you said your oldest grandson or grandchild is 6, is that correct?
Correct, yeah.
Okay, so when your 6-year-old gets ready to go to college, they're going to send you a little email saying, hey, Chris, now is open enrollment, and we're giving away competitive scholarships. So if your grandchild would like to, they can enroll, and as long as they have a 2.8 GPA and at least 40 hours of service, they can apply for that scholarship. If they win the scholarship, they would give them $2,000 a year that they can use to go to any school of their choice, and they do that for 4 years. So they'd have $8,000 that they can use, and that's just because Grandpa has a policy to be able to help them and give them opportunity to go to college. Do you think something like that would be good for the grandbabies?
Oh yes, that would be really good.
Okay,
that's pretty impressive.
Yes, and they do all kind of stuff like Family Fun Day. They sent us last year tickets to Elegis, Cheyenne Mountain Zoo, Disney on Ice. And so if you wanted to take the grandbabies, you would just register. They send you an email, and you'd be able to do that, and it doesn't cost anything extra. All that comes with your policy.
Sounds like a cool company.
I love them, bro. I love them. And then Chris, do you and Crystal have a will put together?
No, we do not. We need to, but we don't have one now.
Okay. The other cool thing that Foresters does is a thing called Law Assure. And what that is, it allows you to kind of go through what your wishes are. So here's where I want the house to be. Here's how I want to get these kind of assets, and here's how I want everything to happen for Crystal and I. If something happened to both of us, and you be able to get it and have access to it, and it set it up just like similar to a will for you, and it would be your wishes in writing, and that also comes with your policy.
That would be real helpful.
Now, you have my word that I will check all of them out for you, but when people have young kids and grandbabies, I'm kind of partial to the Foresters.
Okay.
All right.
All right, we'll freeze right there, Marcus.
Yes.
We're at 2:20, so we'll freeze. Here's the big things that I've noticed. One, I feel like I'm telling you what I want to buy, and you're not even selling me anything. I really feel like you just went through, and because of the questions, you just kind of narrowed it down, almost like a magic trick. You narrowed it down to this is what I'm looking for, and so we're just going to help you get that. I felt when you told me the story about your mom, and then you related it back to me to ask me questions. I felt like that was important. That made me realize the importance of it, and reminded me of the situation that I went through. I thought that was big, and I liked the part where you were using Foresters to your advantage. Because I feel like if I bought a policy from you at Forester and somebody came along and they were $10 cheaper, it still wouldn't be worth it to get rid of Foresters because it's such a cool company, all the extra benefits. But I think the big thing is the way you were talking to me, and you leaned back in your chair. You didn't look like you didn't have a pen out ready to sign me up something. You just sat back and relaxed and talked, and just were a normal person. And then it made me feel like I was selling you on why I should get it, which I think was huge. Did I miss anything on that, or is that pretty much what was happening?
You're absolutely correct. And what I try to do is when I'm there and I'm sharing, I try to lay back so they don't feel, as if I'm being too overbearing. But when they share, like if we were sitting across the table from each other and you start telling me the story about your in-laws and how they passed with no insurance, that's when I lean forward, because I want to show them that I'm interested in what they're sharing with me, and I want to show them that we're engaged. So that would be more of my body language if we were in the home.
Perfect. So I would recommend that if you're new or you're struggling with sales, you need to watch this video more than once. I would aim for multiple times and write down the words he's saying, the question. You can copy exactly what he's doing in the home to make it useful for you, and then gotta get comfortable with it. It's obvious that Marcus's questions and his comments lead me to buying insurance. I felt like I was going to buy a policy on the Zoom because of the way his questions and statements were taking me in that direction. And so it was very much an assumptive sale because we were heading down a path. And I may not know where we were going as a client, but it was clear we were headed to me, buying a policy, which is, I guess that's probably the reason you're writing 10 plus apps a week. And so I would recommend watching it over and over again. Marcus, thank you for jumping on. We greatly appreciate it. You killed it. And I thank everybody for being here. We'll see you next week.
Thank you, Chris. Take care. Have a good day.